You need to assume at this point all these dudes are on the red pill spectrum, and also are king babies, and also are hobosexuals, and also are, they are going to have a podcast. Everyone has been asking me to talk about this douchebag, and so I will. A lot of my mutuals have already made videos that have covered so much. I'd just be repeating them at this point. Therese, my mutual Therese Lee, she did a great one about the Catholic Church. As someone, who is very familiar with the Catholic Church and her family, she broke this down so well about why, by the way, if you're Catholic, I don't have anything against you. But she talks about the Catholic Church becoming very extreme. And also, if you didn't know this, her and I are doing a live on my Patreon Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to talk about hookups and feminism in the bed, pleasure activism, celibacy, and purity culture, and all that stuff. So go to the Patreon for information on that, or join for free if you just want updates about things. Anyway, what does this man have in common with this douchebag? The Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is where men go to rebrand themselves. Literally, Russell Brand is rebranding. Got baptized by this back tattoo dude and some other man in a river, following the lead of Shia, the little abuser, because the Catholic Church is just welcoming all these dudes. And besides enabling little, they also love women or men who hate women and abuse women. Now, not all Catholics, but this new thing that's happening, wow. And as Therese mentioned in her video, which I honestly hadn't thought too much about because I didn't realize how scared I should be of the rebranding of the Catholic Church. There's like the more progressive Catholics, and then there's some of these people. The current court has 6 Catholics in the majority, plus a liberal Catholic, a Jew, and a Protestant. That didn't bother me before because most of the Catholic people that I know are actually pretty progressive, relatively speaking. I come from the South, and white people in the South, well, y'all know our history. I always was like, wow, okay, maybe some people can do religion and not force. Anyway, well, these dudes who are reconnecting with whatever this is, and watch Therese's video, I'm going to link it. My Patreon's also linked in the caption too. Please go check it out. Sorry, I have to say it. I have to say it. These dudes are giving y'all such a bad name. Not only that, there have been multiple videos of women being like, yeah, but Art, you were hooking up with dudes in college. I don't know if that's true or not, but we do know that some of the most homophobic people, but especially men, are just on the down low. Barrett Paul talks about this all the time. It's so many men. Their homophobia is rooted in misogyny, and a lot of times their own refusal to look at their own sexuality. Anyway, apparently not only are there people like saying like I went to college with this dude, blah blah blah, but no actual straight man spends that much time worrying about gay schmegs. You know how I say all the time that everything men do is projection? And also, if you are apparently this college, it's so conservative that this dude couldn't even have a rainbow flag. And despite the fact that we know that Jesus never said anything about abortion, gay people, trans people, anything like that, these dudes cannot help but use every opportunity to be bigot. Might I also remind you that Colin Kaepernick lost his whole career for being on one knee. All this talent. The NFL, which is, I've already done a video about how racist the NFL is, and sexist, but unbelievably anti-black especially. Anyway, they put out a statement being like, nah, like, we don't condemn, nah. But they aren't going to do anything to this man. This is one of my favorite tweets about this. He gave a sexist, anti-LGBTQIA commencement speech. He's also a racist, claiming he's driven by a 2,000-year-old zombie makes his beliefs. So some people are like, why don't you treat him like Colin? No, that won't happen because this dude's a white man. This man literally came after everybody, but you know what? He refused to admit that literally one of the fans of his team getting unalived in a shooting at their celebration parade. Oh, that's not a gun issue. I think we need fathers at home. Go home then. Raise your own kids. What are you doing? Oh, like the way they're like, we need strong fathers, but I'm going to work all the time and I'm going to be a Tom Brady. Tom, I am coming for you next. You suck so bad. See, what his wife doesn't realize is that even a supermodel can't keep one of these dudes. Because look at this. These dudes have such big egos. Y'all, I swear, they all say the same thing. You're a rock. Any man that calls you his rock is exploiting you. But I'm coming back for you, Tom, because you're one of these. All these football players want is a pretty wife in the stand to be like, yay! That's what most men want. A cheerleader. They will turn someone that was called like the most beautiful woman in the world, but I think whatever. One of the highest paid, if not the highest paid models in the world, into a football wife. And keep her home and pregnant. Like thriving career and trap you with a baby. Taylor Swift, please don't come after me, y'all, if you're a Swiftie. The reason why I don't like her relationship with a football player is because they almost always do this. Do not get pregnant by these men, because all of them try to baby trap you and humble you. And maybe Travis is different, but birds of a feather tend to flock together. Did y'all not see about this yesterday? One of the most influential women in the world, 428 million followers on Instagram, is dating this bozo who it literally, I think I have to do a whole video on him. I don't know anything about this. What is his name? Benny? I don't know anything about him. But he is all about, he wants kids. He's not sure if he should get married, but he wants kids. That's his goal. They all want their little legacy. They all want to be dads, but none of them want to be parents. He wants to become a dad so bad, but not sure if he's ready to get married because, I don't have anything. I got no shoes on. I got to get my act together. But just went on this podcast, talks about how he just so wants to be a dad. Stop letting men get you pregnant. Please, please stop. They're all trying to baby trap you. And especially Selena, you have so much money. You're going to get what happened to Britney Spears is about to happen to you. Do not have this man's baby unless he marries you first. And if you marry him, you better get an ironclad prenup where he gets nothing from you. But literally, this man wants a baby. He's going to leave her. Oh my God, I got to do a whole video on this. They're playing husband and wife. Okay, don't play husband and wife. Y'all, oh my God. We see this happening to even the most powerful, influential women in the world. If they can do it to them, y'all don't think they're going to do it to you? I am telling you, every man is on the homosexual spectrum. Every single one of them. Maybe some of them are way over here because they've really been working on themselves and they have ambition and they don't want to exploit women. But most of them are this in disguise. They look like this, but they're actually this. But he actually looks like he doesn't care. He literally just did an interview where he's like, I didn't even know he's literally doing what Simone Biles' husband did. I didn't know we're going on a date. Like, okay, I gotta do a whole separate video, getting off course. But anyone that says you're the coolest, nicest, sweetest person, he's gonna exploit you. Every time a man on a dating app said that I looked really cool, I was like, uh-oh. Cool, sweet, nice. I don't want to be any of those things. I mean, I am cool. I can be nice. I'd rather be kind. I can be sweet. But I want every man to know I can be a big old bitch. Because nice people get exploited. Nice people are people pleasers oftentimes who get walked all over. I don't want to be that. This man's getting dragged. The reason why I'm talking about this is that men are obsessed with being fathers, but they don't want to parent. They are obsessed with getting the credit, the social capital of being a father and having a legacy, when all they're going to do, their legacy is going to be trauma. And seriously, they all think that marriage is a bigger commitment than children. Men who say stuff like this then cause their family permanent psychological damage. But let's get back to this douche. I'm going to tie so many things together here. This dude is a perfect example of like Christian white nationalism and basically misogyny and white supremacy culture and nationalism all just getting so entangled together. Something I did not realize until today was that she converted for him. Let's play name all the red flags of, well, his red flags, but her red flags. Don't ever convert for a man. I know it worked out pretty well for Charlotte and Sex and the City, but that's not how it's going to work for you. I would love to know how many women convert for men, because I promise you men are not converting for women. I mean, maybe the same way men will never move for women, and if they do, it's usually because they're a little They're a little, where is he? They're a little hobo, and they're not going to work. They're not going to make friends. They're going to be a vampire and take everything. I owe you a video on that, y'all. Because I always say don't move for a man, but also don't let these hobo schedules move for you most of the time. But most men would never do this because they are so entitled. They're like, why would I convert to your religion? Why would I do that? And women don't even question it. Look, he's like, he said that it would not have been possible without the girl who converted his faith and took the role of his homemaker. And like I said before, he praised her for pushing him to be a better man, and she's so patient and forgiving when he falls short. What is this man doing to you? Seriously, anytime a man calls you his rock, or if his wedding vows are all about how you make him a better man. I mean, not even his vows. Probably never even marry you. Like, why buy the milk when the cow's for free? It's literally what my dad used to say all the time. Anyway, he's not wrong. Don't give these men wife privileges without the financial legal protection. But patient and forgiving of what, bro? What are you doing to her? Besides making her convert and making her give up her career and literally everything, I am sure this man is such a nightmare. But don't let men, I don't want to inspire men. You take it on yourself to be a better man. Don't make that my job. Because when they say inspire, what does that mean? That means push. Come on. Come on, go on, you can do it. You can do it. I don't want to be your mom. I want to be your inspiration. I don't want to be your cheerleader, because I'm telling you, all these men want a cheerleader. Like I said, they're like little boys on the playground. Are you looking? Are you looking? All kids do that, but boys never grow out of this. Especially when they date women. They don't think they should have to, so they're always like, watch me. Watch me. And you're like, oh yeah, good job. Don't be this. And he's like, I'm really truly amazed at how God has worked in your life. What's God doing? Is God forking her? Is God who knocked her up twice and now thrice because she's expecting a baby? I don't know if y'all heard that. I'm sure you've probably heard by now. You know, I was actually trying to make this whole video yesterday. I spent hours doing it, and then in the whole middle of it, the microphone wasn't working. I didn't realize it. So I had to do this all over again. And I'm kind of glad, you know, I try to see mistakes as always like maybe a blessing, and all this came out since I tried to make it yesterday. So here we are with new information. Allegedly, rumor has it, that not only that Mike Pence's conversion camp or whatever this guy was sent to, I don't know, allegedly those aren't even his kids. And then he would like, this man was like, I don't know his sexual orientation. Only he and maybe her know this. But I swear to God, men who have so much power but refuse to be honest with themselves are so dangerous. I mean, anybody, anyone with power, but white men especially have the most of it. So when they, oh God, my microphone. When they refuse to deal with themselves, we all have to deal with it instead. Look at this other crap he said. These are all the alarm bells. If you are with a man and he's ever saying any of this stuff, you are so screwed. Husband loves your wives just as Christ loves the church and gave himself up for her, but you literally don't sacrifice anything. That's just so amazing. They're all about like even admit like she's sacrificing a lot. She sacrificed her career, la la la. But then you somehow think that you are equal to Jesus when you're literally not sacrificing anything. I don't get it. The mental gymnastics. Is this like white nationalism, white Christian nationalism math? It's not just boy math. This is like a whole new level. I will continue to pray for the strength and perseverance to sacrifice for you every day of our marriage. But what are you sacrificing? You doing whatever you want. And he already admitted that she sacrificed her career to do her true calling of being a trad wife, basically. But look, her passion was for teaching, and she tutored students and actively involved in animal welfare and blah, blah, blah. her role as a local pet rescue center. Okay, you know what this reeks of? So every like narcissist, or even somebody who just acts kind of like one, which, you know, I think we overuse the actual term, but honestly, like, you can have narcissistic traits. Every man like this, like him, needs a woman like this, who's all about sacrificing, who's really attached to being the martyr, probably needs to go to like a codependency support group or something. But this is also kind of like built into like what women are conditioned to do under patriarchy in general, but it's like really bad in the church, right? And it's like sacrifice, 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 give. And so, and I've known a lot of church women, and I know a lot of retired women who won't rest. All they do is volunteer. And I understand giving into your community, having a sense of purpose, community building, all that stuff is so important, but a lot of women don't know when to stop. They don't even know what they want, who they are, what they like, because they have never done anything but this. They did this. She's doing this in like high school. And then she, you know, is like, maybe starts to try to figure herself out in college. And then she's like, no, him. And then now she's a mom and has another child, the king baby. If he doesn't leave her, which he probably will, the only reason he wouldn't is because she's his beard or because he's going to look bad. The dude's going to cheat. He's going to do all kinds of stuff. If she's ever free of him, I promise you, all she's going to do is like volunteer or find another man to take care of. We have to unlearn this conditioning of just give, pour into everyone else. And then also encourage other women to do it and call them selfish if they dare to tap out of parenthood or, you know, just caregiving men, right? The same people will want you to stay with a man who treats you awful and even abuses you. But what will he do? Fuck him. Now, she went to Rhodes College. They met in like Atlanta. And then she went to college at Rhodes. Double major. Volleyball, basketball, and now football wife. That's it. This doesn't matter anymore. Honestly, he was probably jealous of her. We know that men are so jealous of women that they try to find a woman. Like, we would not be interested in a woman who didn't go to college and do all this stuff because they get so much pleasure off of clipping your wings, right? They don't want pick me. Men like this would rather find a woman who's kind of not but has it in her and then make her be a submit. So now she's got a third kid on the way, and she also is held responsible for this man's career. Yeah, do men not realize how weak this looks? Like, how is that a flex? It cannot be overstated that all my success is made possible because our girl I met in band class, but oh no. Oh, there it is. You are probably bullied, and so now you have a live-in bully. You have a live-in nerd that you can beat up for the rest of your life. And then a bunch of little nerds you can beat up or worship, whatever you're going to do. These men, I swear to God, do not marry men who were bullied because they have, did you see Revenge of the Nerds? Part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or any of this? So many men are so cruel to women because they want to get back at all the men that beat them up. Or the women who rejected them in high school because they just can't get over that. Or their mom. Met her in band class. She would convert to the faith, become my wife, embrace one of the most important titles of all. Oh my God. So again, don't convert for these men. Now, she talked about this on a podcast in 2022. Oops. We hear a little bit more about there. These are all the red flags that me and my mutuals talk about. They broke up during college. She focused on her sorority. Were you a Kappa? Or, I mean, this is a Southern white sorority, I'm guessing. So, I'm sorry. I don't know anything about sororities, like the names of any of them. So I probably got that one wrong. But as I've said before, a lot of rich white girls all over, but especially in the South, they just use that to meet other rich white people and kind of like beat each other up. So Isabel focused on her sorority and playing on the basketball team. During her senior year, Harry kind of wasn't sure that we'd actually be able to have any future relationship. Was that because he was like allegedly working male cheerleader? Or is it because he never really liked you, but he knew you'd fit the bill of what he needed? He was just praying for me on my own. And we're talking for a while. After suffering a torn ACL and the subsequent death of her grandmother, Isabel described hitting a rock bottom which caused her to reach back out to him. Okay, so don't chase men. Don't chase men, y'all. We do too much. He broke up with her. If he ever went to this alleged conversion therapy camp or whatever it is with Mike Pence and all those awful people. Let's say that was not even what's happened. Let's say all that is a lie. She tore her ACL. Okay, so that means she can't play sports for a long time. I tore my ACL. It was at least 6 months of recovery for that, right? We know that is one of the worst injuries you can get if you are a pro athlete or just an athlete in general, because it takes a while to heal, right? So she can't do her sports. Her grandma dies. She's hitting a rock bottom. Y'all take a lesson. Take a lot from Isabel, or what's her name? Isabel. When you're feeling bored, lonely, rock bottom, or anything, when you're not feeling good, that is the worst time to text your ex. Like, I swear, at this lessons we talk about her in every story I go over somehow. She reached out to him, Chase being, hey, honey, you should have leaned on your sorority sisters, although if they're like a lot of them, they probably were not very helpful. But don't text she should have blocked him. Remember I say block your ex? Not because of not only like them having access to you, but so that you, when you are not feeling great, aren't tempted to do this. Because now she doesn't have her career, doesn't play sports, and now this man just humiliated her. This man is so viral right now. They were talking about him in France. He came up in my news feed in France. And I'm like, oh my God. I had never heard this man until yesterday. I don't care about football. I know more about the Kansas City football team than I've ever wanted to know because of Travis or whatever. But still, I had no idea who this man was. And now the whole world knows about this idiot, and worse, his wife. Look what he did to you. Because you texted him when you weren't feeling good. Block these dudes, y'all. 1 weak moment can ruin your life. Oh my God, look, he's like, wow, she's getting riled up. Yep. He stopped trying to force anything on me. He was praying for me. What does that mean? Okay, but following a spiritual experience at Mass on a family vacation, what were you doing at Mass? You're not Catholic. Doing too much. She decided to convert to Catholicism. After she told Butker, they broke down in tears. As he was praying, she'd come to that conclusion. Because again, he would never do that for her. If a man would never do for you what you are thinking about doing for him, don't do it. Don't do it. Oh. That should be your litmus test. Ask yourself, or even ask him. Here's a good one. Hey, honey, if we ever get married, would you think about taking my name? And if he's like, no. Okay, why? Like, these men will tell on themselves all the time if you ask the right question. Now, of course, all of this, like I've said, is linked to mommy. Growing up, my mom was my biggest supporter, guiding me to be the man I needed to become. Where's your dad? Where's your dad? I'm guessing your mom was at all your games. Your mommy, yay, Madison, yay! Where is your dad? Now I'm so blessed to have my beautiful wife by my side. She's behind you. She's not by your side. Or she's in the sidecar of your adventure of life. To witness firsthand the amazing mother she is to our son in many sacrifices. I thought you were the one making all the sacrifices, like Jesus. Oh, okay. For our family is something I will cherish forever. Y'all, don't ever let a man make you do this. Oh, and look how romantic. He proposed to her on a football field. Another red flag. Hello, making the proposal all about you. Has she ever played football? Why would she want that? I'm telling y'all, their proposals, Like they tell on themselves all the time. And now that's why we talk about this so much, is so you can educate yourself on where is the selfishness and entitlement coming through, because that is the foundation of all this misogyny. They can't see you as a human. All those things, look for it. Look for entitlement. Now, all of them have it. It is like, it's going to come up. It is going to come up, and even the most progressive. But pay attention to it all the time, because most men, it is seeped in everything they do. After almost 7 years of being best friends with this girl, I finally popped the question. From the first moments of our relationship back in freshman year in high school, I always envisioned marrying you and raising a family. What happened during college? When you broke up with her and she had to contact you. Where was that vision? Look at that. Oh, y'all, you know this guy probably got made so much fun of. He wasn't just in band. He played this instrument. Now, I love musicians, but I don't know if it's still like this, but in the 80s and 90s when I was in school, all those movies about like the nerds getting beat up all the time and the band being like the biggest dork, like it was not cool to be in the band back then. I'm just saying, I think so many men have a revenge narrative, and if you marry these men, you are George McFly from Back to the Future forever. Now, the little foundation they have, I'm going to later, which I'm going to hit on later. Look at this. Any organization that is especially, your causes are human trafficking and pro-life advocacy. Those seem to contradict each other. A forced birther, but against human trafficking. My guess is like a lot of these really big church people, they want to make women have babies so then they can sell them in the adoption industry. Because y'all, if you are not following Adoptee TikTok or on YouTube or whatever, that will change the way you look at childhood and everything. I have learned so much from kids who are adopted about foster care, but also like how much of it is like literally human trafficking, especially in the US. It is a for-profit business. I don't know. I kind of feel like, much like Ashton Kutcher or whatever, who we know supports Danny and is like, I've done videos on him. I cannot stand that man. So shady. I actually am convinced at this point he got with Demi to get to her kids. Maybe he didn't do anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was like, ooh, cool, they're teenagers. And he was all about going to Congress. It was like, it's bad. Human trafficking groups, I'm convinced they are literally doing it for access, and it's a cover. Not all of them. But anytime men are involved in this, y'all, this whole part of his speech where he was like, be unapologetic and your masculinity, fight against cultural emasculation of men, do hard things, never settle for what is easy. All that like blah, 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 blah. Everybody's like, he's just a kicker. Do hard things like sit on the sidelines the entire game, watching his teammates risk their bodies and brain injuries and stuff, then come in and be like, I don't know anything about football. I'm sure that it takes a lot to be a kicker. I'm sure it's a lot of pressure. But also, rumor has it, he didn't want to play football, and so he decided to be a kicker. I don't know. There's so many theories about his relationship to his dad and him being on the down low and all this stuff. I don't know if any of it's true. But every time a man spends this much time hating women and hating men who love each other, what is that about? Why are you fighting it so hard? Why do you care so much? You know it's bad when even the Daily Mail, y'all know how I feel about them. They're the ones who slut shamed me all over because I wrote for Glamour about dating men younger than me. So as much as I hate them, they're so far right. And even they were like, this was unhinged. So not only was it like transphobic, homophobic, misogynistic, like QAnon sounding, was against IVF, surrogacy, euthanasia, abortion. Like he literally mentioned everything. Remember these two? These racist people who pulled pew-pews. I mean, look at this one. And the way she's holding... who pulled these out at a Black Lives Matter protest. These two are awful people. And he's like, yay, I'm so proud of you. Y'all, and also, of course, he's come out with this statement. And I love this tweet. You guys say it took it out of context, but somehow the context is worse than the first speech. Because look what this man said. Everything I left out of context. All I said is that we should go back to the better time, like the 50s and the 60s, when men were men and women had more babies than thoughts. Well, I don't think it could get worse. Both those parts. That women had more babies than thoughts. As if creating an entire child and raising it requires no thoughts. I hate you so much. Anyway, go back to the 50s and 60s. One of my mutuals, I will try to remember to tag her. She said today, and I've heard this before, but when she saw this, she says, anytime these men are talking about going back to the 50s and 60s, especially if they're white men, this is coded. It's not just about like trad life, women, la la la. This is like, what was happening in the 50s and 60s? Why are they obsessed with the 50s? Segregation. Like they want everything about the 50s, not just, you know, their little white wife in the home. They want everybody back into whatever, into less power, right? They want segregation. They want LGBTQ plus people to shut up and go back in the closet and stop talking about it. Everything. They want everybody to shut up and get back in line. That's what they mean by that. This is never just about women, especially when it's coming from a white man. When the only Me Too movement was the one woman saying she was ready for her fourth child, and another woman agreeing. Are you talking about lesbian couples? Like, what are you talking about? Why didn't you say a man agreeing with that? Or like her husband? Whatever. I don't even care. I hate you. Thanks for setting the record straight, bro. Now we know you are so much worse than no benefits of the doubt should ever be granted you. But because you're a white man, we know they will be. Because, reminder, so you know how they say a tenet of whiteness is the benefit of the doubt? Because they canceled an entire commencement in California because of what a woman of color might have said, but likely didn't even skim this man's speech. And there's so many people defending this dude. Of course, they would rather cancel any commencement speeches that might mention the word Palestine or the word free in front of it, or just the word Palestine. But someone who might say that, and then they do this. They just let this man go on this rant. He's also anti-Semitic. This one kind of, Rolling Stones did a thing about it. This one kind of went over a lot of people's heads. There are so many dog whistles. Well, some of them are dog whistles. Some of them are just outright blah, right? But there was so much coded in that speech. This is the Rolling Stones article if you want to go read it. Now, before I get into how this ties into white supremacy culture and how also this is all about this man's issues with his mother and how men are obsessed with blaming their mothers instead of their fathers. And by the way, I haven't heard anything from Travis, but I will say that this guy, Patrick, has said a while ago he won't even talk to that dude. So it could be because, as he talked about in that Rolling Stone, he has been anti-abortion for so long. He starred in this ad trying to ban it. The ad campaign was funded by dark money. And it doesn't matter if your mom has a degree from Smith, of all places, a degree, a master's in medical physics. The internet was full of crap like this yesterday. My mom has a master's degree in psychology and had a private practice when she was raising me. I wish she spent more time at home with me and being there when I needed her. And she agreed. Most working women would most likely look back and wish they had stayed home to... You know what though? A lot of those working women were able to leave when their husbands started beating them. That is why this whole, like, if you're gonna be a stay-at-home mom, trad wife and stay-at-home mom are not the same thing, by the way. Trad wife is full propaganda. Stay-at-home mom makes sense for a lot of women, especially given the price of childcare in the U.S. It is literally like it's a whole nother situation over there, right? Nothing against stay-at-home moms, as long as you have money. That man puts money in your account every month that he can't touch. Because this is all BS. These men want to baby trap us, and then they want to make it so you can never leave them. Even though they're going to cheat on you and probably leave you and start a whole new family. Maybe they'll tell you about it, or maybe they'll stay with you and have a whole nother family. Or maybe they'll have affairs on the DL because they never actually were attracted to you to begin with. They just needed the social capital of being a legacy dad. The worst dads I've ever met are the ones who brag the most about being a father. I'm not even kidding. They don't brag about their kids. They brag about being a dad. Those men, do not ever trust them because everyone was calling him out. Y'all never wished y'all's dads were at home more. Mickey Kendall. I love following her. She wrote Hood Feminism. Especially if you're a white woman and want to understand the intersection of all this, amazing, amazing book to start. Her response to all that crap about that dude being like, I wish my mom would have been ahead. This ties onto my original theory that people don't see moms as real human beings with their own goals. And this person's like, no, a child can see a mom as an own person and still desire that they had her in childhood. No amount of adult rationale will erase that he desired more from his mom as a kid. And then her response, perfect, which proves my point, because why aren't people caring that feeling into adulthood about their fathers who statistically spent less time with them than their mothers? Et voila. And then I love following her as well. Most women would like men to be good fathers so our children don't think our personhood revolves around them and they don't grow up being a little mech because mommy had a life that didn't center them. Where was your father? Why didn't you want your daddy? This is another thing this is one reason why Anthony is realizing that instead of just being on the local level, he may need to kind of try to talk more to men on a bigger scale, because I'm like, babe, if you're not talking to men, these men are. He has two men's group doing all the stuff, right? But at this point, these dudes and the church and these dudes in disguise, like Scott Galloway, they're making it so hard for men to not get radicalized. Misogyny is like a thick gas that no one can escape. It's upheld everywhere and it's embedded in everything. I feel like I'm constantly undoing some misogyny in my child's brain. I hate it here. So these men that are obsessed with being fathers will then tweet stuff like this. This is how I'll be straight chilling in the emergency room when I decide to have a kid. Again, none of these men actually want to be fathers, and they are so mad that women are more successful than them, and they're so mad at their mom for what their dad did to them that they can't get out of it. So let me remind you, his mother was an accomplished physicist. She worked in the Department of Radiation Oncology at Emory University School of Medicine. She was even written about. She specialized in 2 forms of radiation. I don't even know how to pronounce that. And gamma knife metal, like blah, 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 right? And again, went to Smith. So how did someone like this end up with a son like this? Well, the internet probably didn't help. And then all this new Catholic rebranding hasn't helped either. And then Heidi, y'all know I've quoted her a lot, like following her too. Something that more women should be aware of is that men who are brought up by strong mothers do not necessarily become feminine. Rather, some of those men grow up resenting female power and independence, and they often insist on women's dependence and submissions as girlfriends, wives, and partners. Basically, you have to learn when you're out there dating these to discern whether a man who is brought up by a strong woman respects female power or resents it, because they're going to go one way or the other. They're very rarely in the middle. They resent women that remind them of their mom, or they respect it. And I would argue a lot of the ones who end up resenting it is because of their dads. Their dads were gone. Their dads didn't show up. And because their mothers had no support from their dad, they couldn't be around all the time because they literally had to do all this work and care for their kid. And instead of blaming the person who caused that mess, they're going to take it out on women. So to get back at that woman, they're going to take it out on their girlfriend to get back at mom. In his relationship, he is essentially acting out his need to control his mother and get her to do what he wants, except his female partners have to keep playing that mother role. Additionally, men who have not resolved their feelings about their mother's strength or control will not just seek submissive women, they will specifically look for strong women. Sit with that, okay? That abusive little hobo that I got in a relationship with, I thought only a strong man could be attracted to someone like me. No, they love women like me in order to make me submit. That's so much more rewarding. My ex, his dad beat his mom, and he blamed his mom for what his dad did. So they'll specifically look for women with a lot of independence, like their mothers, and try to make her submit to men. That's part of working out attachment issues, repeating them over and over until they reach the level of awareness that gets addressed and resolved. This man's refusal to deal with his dad issue is why his wife will pay the price for all that. And his refusal to question patriarchy and white supremacy culture and all this stuff that makes him feel like the entitled king baby that he acts like. But the funny thing about Catholicism is that in the United States, if you don't live in the United States, you may not be aware of this. Even if you do, you may not be aware of it. But one of the first things I learned in the history is about whiteness. It's not that, like, this is not unique to the U.S., but the U.S., it is very extreme because it is the foundation of our entire existence. Is our foundation is on genocide and chattel slavery. Okay, that was the groundwork that we were built on, and so whiteness is very important in the U.S. as a way to keep this system going. And the Catholic people, Irish, they didn't consider them white. Literally, look it up. They were so white people in the U.S. because it was like these crazy Puritans that even like old-timey Europe was like, y'all are too weird for us. Even this place was like, whoa, right? And so a bunch of them were like, let's go over here. So anyway, Catholics in the U.S. have not been welcome for a lot of our history. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is also a really good book, or a good place to start, How the Irish Became White. Because the Irish, they got treated like crap. And then they became more white, and then they started treating anyone that they had more power over like crap, especially black people. The United States has a long history of hating Catholic people. And one of the things that, this is why I talk about, why I want my feminism to be as intersection as possible, is because none of us are free until all of us are free, okay? So Catholics seem to have forgotten, a lot of them, especially the white ones, that y'all make, I mean, even though you control the courts now, your acceptance is conditional. Now, y'all know that I come from the South. My dad, one of the things I'm very proud about my dad is that he was horrified by the things that his parents were doing and saying. And he was like, I don't want any part of this, and actively worked against it, right? He never quite dealt with patriarchy and his own trauma, never really questioned the way he still exploits women. But he became he was in Vietnam War. He ended up finally finding Veterans for Peace. He worked so much with them. Like, he was very active in civil rights activism in high school. But some of the stuff I've heard my granddad say, you know, the one who held my grandma hostage and literally celebrated at her funeral, like sang a song, I'm king of the mountain now, and all that stuff, even though he beat her and wouldn't let her get a divorce and all this other stuff. He hated Catholic people. I was like, why does he hate Catholics so much? I could never figure it out. And then I became a history major, and I was like, oh. In fact, it's not just in the South. Catholics were not really very popular for a long time. So much so, like, just Wikipedia. Yeah, there was a while where, like, the really hated Catholics. So, Catholics are on hit list too. We all are. But as the dude who wrote this book said, and as honestly any intersexual feminist, especially Black and Indigenous women, will tell you, that unless you deal with whiteness and how it's tied to the capitalism and patriarchy and all that stuff in the U.S., and not just the U.S., I just talk about my country because I know our history very well. That's what I focused on in my study, especially in the South. Until we unpack this and what it means, we're all screwed. Some of us benefit, but in the end, we're screwed. Now that the Catholic Church is like, well, we have like a problem, and we like guys like this, and this, and this, y'all seem to forget your history, or maybe you just don't know it, like I didn't know it. I didn't know my history because I grew up in the South, and the Daughters of the Confederacy had worked really hard to make sure that the real history was erased from all the textbooks, so people like me didn't learn any of this in school. All taken out and written through a very white lens. States' rights and all this crap. I had to go to the University of Montana to find out about my real history. So anyone out there who thinks, well, yeah, I'm okay, I'm fine, they're coming for you. Men like this will probably always be okay. But if you have anything other than a very, very, very rich white man and Protestant, your days are numbered. None of us are free until all of us are free. You know it's bad when the Benedict sisters, are they nuns? I don't know. You know it's bad when your own church is like, can you shut up? Look, what do you know? As the Benedictine Sisters of Mount St. Scholastic, co-founders of Benedictine College, who on Thursday issued the definitive response to his commencement, they said they are among those whose vital contributions to the world, to the church, and to the college are not just discounted but erased. Poof, gone in Burke's view of women who are not wives and mothers. He didn't see them at all. There's a whole statement. We do not believe that his comments represent the Catholics, Benedictine liberal arts colleges that our founders envisioned, in which we have been so invested. Instead of promoting unity in our church, our nation, and the world, his comments seem to have fostered division. One of our concerns is the assertion that being a homemaker is the highest calling for women. We sisters have dedicated our lives to God and God's people, including many women who were taught and influenced during the past 160 years. So I'm assuming these are like sisters, like nuns. Y'all, he pissed off the nuns. But they're right. He's like, you gotta be a mom. And they're like, wait, what? We're married to God. Wait, we literally are celibate and married to God. And you are saying that, like, we suck? Then they were just like, I mean, this is a whole statement. They're like, not only is they're talking about homemaker, that's wrong. But really, our community is taught how to be gospel-centered, compassionate, home within themselves so they can welcome others as Christ, empowering them to be the best versions of themselves. Literally, these sisters just called him trash. We reject a narrow definition of what it means to be Catholic. We're faithful members of the Catholic Church. They also called out all of that stuff that I mentioned before. They called out his anti-Semitism and they broke it all down. Like, read all this. I don't know. I don't even understand a lot of this. I just don't know much about religion. But, you know, honestly, good for them. Good for them. Because they just won back by some respect. Again, I don't care what any religion anyone is, as long as you are not making me do what you do, right? And you're not harming other people. And you are not, like, buying into all this crap. White supremacy culture and patriarchy and all this crap that literally oppresses people. So I love that those sisters were like, shut your mouth, shut up, and called it all out. But whatever, this is a mess, y'all. I could probably dive deeper. I've literally spent the last 3 days covering this so I can make a video, and I still I feel like it's just gonna get worse and worse. So nothing's gonna happen to this man. But please take the lesson from Isabel. Don't let these men baby trap. Don't convert. Don't do too much. Don't call them when you are feeling desperate. Don't chase them. Stop doing anything for them, because they ain't going to do that for you, and they're going to ruin your life. And just like a lot of women in the U.S., white women are learning, we were warned. They were going to come after Roe v. Wade, and a lot of white women voted for Trump anyway. And then they're like, I don't want this baby. Well, we got to deal with all of it. So assume that any man you date is one of these until he proves otherwise. He's one of these until he proves otherwise. And he's one of these until proven otherwise. And don't, oh, here it is. Don't let them knock you up, please. That is how they trap you. And especially if you make more money than them, don't let them knock you up. And also if you don't make money. I'm telling you, babies is how they trap us. My ex literally said he was pissed I got in the IUD because now I can just leave. Even the little gold diggers want to have your baby, want you to have their baby, oh God, to control you. You want a baby so bad, be a single mom at this point, seriously. I hope this was informative. Please follow my Patreon and come to my live on Sunday if you're a part of that tier. But we will record it and it'll be available like within an hour after the live. If you are coming to live think of some stuff to ask us because we're going to do question and answer. Thanks for being here. Please comment, like, share. Make sure you're subscribed because lots of people are being unsubscribed without them knowing. Set notifications, even though a lot of them aren't even working. Anthony's aren't working right now whenever I release a video, but at least it'll help you not miss some of my stuff. And please drop any other resources, book, podcasts, all that stuff that kind of talks about these topics I was talking about. Let's share info, especially if you were like me and were robbed of truthful education from your public schools because of, well, the people who don't want us to know. Anyway, voila.